Stop scrolling. Because if you're broke right now, it's not bad luck. It's strategy failure. What I'm about to show you is not motivation, not hope, not a feel-good fantasy. It's a 90-day transformation blueprint built on cold logic, ruthless discipline, and Machiavellian leverage. Most people will ignore this because it demands sacrifice. If you stay, you'll learn how powerless men stay broke, and how dangerous men rebuild wealth and status from zero. Comment beast mode if you're done being broke, overlooked, and underestimated, and you're ready to rebuild power without excuses. Chapter 1. Poverty is not a money problem. It's a power problem. Being broke is humiliating, not because of money itself, but because of what it does to your posture, your voice, your options. You hesitate. You over-explain. You accept disrespect you should never tolerate. And here's the dark truth. Machiavelli understood centuries ago. Poverty strips leverage, and men without leverage are ruled. By employers, by circumstances, by fear. This chapter is not about hustles or side gigs. It's about understanding why you're stuck, and why 90 days of correct behavior can reverse years of failure. Because poverty isn't random. It's structural. When Machiavelli observed rulers fall, it wasn't because they lacked desire. It was because they lacked control over time and resources. That's you right now. Your day is fragmented. Your attention is scattered. Your energy is sold cheaply to distractions, obligations, and survival tasks. You don't have a money problem. You have a command problem. You wake up reacting instead of directing. You work hard, but not strategically. You consume information, but you don't convert it into leverage. And the world rewards leverage, not effort. Motivation feels good. That's why it's dangerous. Motivation convinces you that emotion equals progress. Machiavelli rejected this illusion. He understood that systems beat feelings every time. Most broke men wait to feel inspired before acting. Powerful men act, then let emotion catch up, or die trying. Here's the uncomfortable reality. If you need motivation to work, you are not serious. Wealth is built by men who operate even when nothing feels rewarding. Machiavelli lived through chaos, political exile, poverty, humiliation. He was dismissed, ignored, stripped of influence. But instead of begging for relevance, he rebuilt power through understanding human behavior. He studied who gets promoted, who gets ignored, who controls outcomes, and he realized something that applies directly to you. Men rise not by fairness but by usefulness. That is the law of wealth. If you are not useful to powerful systems, you are replaceable. If you are replaceable, you are underpaid. If you are underpaid, you are controlled. Let's break it down. Most men are stuck in this loop. Work to survive, spend to cope, escape through entertainment. Repeat. There is no leverage here, no compounding, no dominance. This loop keeps you tired, distracted, and dependent. And here's the brutal part. The system prefers you this way. Tired men don't rebel. Distracted men don't build. Comfortably broke men don't compete. Pause for a second. This next line is crucial. If your income does not grow faster than your expenses, your life will shrink, no matter how hard you work. That's not pessimism, that's math. Machiavelli believed power shifts quickly when behavior changes decisively. 90 days is long enough to rewire habits, build rare skills, create visible momentum. Separate yourself from average men, but only if the 90 days are brutal and focused, not balanced, not comfortable, not social, focused, because wealth in its early stages is fragile. It needs protection from distraction. The first rule of beast mode. Here is the first law of this blueprint. That means you will be bored, you will be misunderstood, you will be alone at times. Good. Machiavelli warned rulers. Popularity is temporary, power is permanent. Right now you must choose comfort or leverage, approval or authority, entertainment or empire. You don't get both. Before money changes, identity must harden. You stop saying, I'm trying, I hope, I'll see. You start saying, I execute, I enforce, I build. This is not arrogance. This is internal alignment. Because men who don't respect themselves cannot command wealth. This 90-day plan is not about luck. It's about stacking advantages. Control your time. Increase your usefulness. Convert skill into leverage. Turn leverage into income. Chapter 2. The Ruthless Strategy. How power is actually built in 90 days. Now, listen carefully, because this is where most men get it wrong. They think wealth comes from doing more things. More hustles, more ideas, more noise. Machiavelli would laugh at that. Power is not built by expansion first. It is built by concentration. This chapter is the strategic core of the 90-day blueprint. Miss this and you'll stay busy but broke. Machiavelli believed the first duty of a ruler was removing threats, not acquiring luxuries. Your threats are not people, they are behaviors. Before you add a single new habit, income stream, or skill, you must delete. Time-wasting entertainment, unproductive social obligations, cheap dopamine routines, conversations that don't lead to leverage. Here's the rule. If it doesn't increase skill, income, or authority, it's a liability. Most men never get rich because they protect distractions as if they're entitled to them. You are not. This is where weak men panic. They say, "What if I choose the wrong thing?" Machiavelli would respond, "For the next 90 days you choose one high-income skill, one measurable outcome, one market that already pays." Examples: sales copywriting, media, editing automation, technical problem solving, lead generation, not 10. 1. Why? Because leverage compounds faster when focus is narrow. A scattered man stays replaceable. A specialized man becomes expensive. Pause right here. Studies consistently show that top earners in any field focus on fewer skills, but execute them with extreme depth. This is why multi-potential men stay average. Depth creates dominance. In this phase, your schedule is no longer casual. Machiavelli understood that those who control time control outcomes. Your 90-day structure looks like this. Morning, skill acquisition. Midday, execution. Evening, review and correction. No debating, no negotiating with yourself. Your calendar becomes law. And here's the key: psychological shift. You stop asking how you feel and start asking what must be done. That alone separates operators from dreamers. Weak men wait until they feel ready. Powerful men become useful immediately. Confidence is not built by affirmations. It's built by being needed. You should aim to solve someone's money problem, someone's time problem, someone's attention problem. The market doesn't reward potential. It rewards relief. If you can reduce friction for someone with resources, you will be paid. This is subtle, but deadly if ignored. Many men hide while preparing. Others seek validation before they're competent. Both fail. Machiavelli advised rulers to be seen enough to be relevant, but not exposed enough to be attacked. You share progress, you demonstrate results, you do not seek approval. You let outcomes speak. Silence plus results creates mystery. Mystery creates authority. Here's what separates men who plateau from men who scale. Every week you ask, what worked? What wasted time? What directly produced value? Then you cut without mercy. No emotional attachment to methods, only loyalty to results. Most men stay broke because they defend ineffective habits out of pride. Machiavelli warned against this. Pride blinds rulers faster than enemies. This is where 90% drop out. You will say no to weekends, delay, pleasure, reduce comfort, operate, while others relax, not forever, just long enough to break the hierarchy. Machiavelli knew that those who endure temporary hardship gain permanent leverage. Comfort now costs power later. Around day 30 to 45, something shifts. You stop feeling chaotic. You stop chasing inspiration. You begin trusting process. This is dangerous, in a good way. Because once discipline replaces emotion, you become predictable to yourself and unpredictable to others. That's power. Chapter 3. Execution under fire. How ruthless men lock power permanently. This is the final separation. Everything up to now has been preparation. This chapter is identity. Most men don't fail because they lack knowledge. They fail because when pressure hits, they revert. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. A ruler is not defined by plans in calm times. He is defined by behavior under stress. So now, we finish the blueprint. Here's a hard truth. If your system relies on motivation, it will collapse. Motivation is emotional. Emotion is unstable. Ruthless men operate on non-negotiable systems. You wake up because it's scheduled. You work because it's required. You execute because there is no alternative. You don't decide each day. You obey the structure you built. This is what Machiavelli meant by controlling fortune. You remove chance from the equation. This is where weak men self-destruct. They feel resistance and assume something is wrong. Wrong. Resistance is proof you are changing rank. Every uncomfortable moment asks one question. Will you interpret this as a signal to stop or a signal to adapt? Powerful men treat pain like information. Fatigue means optimize recovery, not quit. Fear means expand skill, not retreat. Doubt means refine execution, not abandon mission. Emotion does not command behavior. It reports conditions. That mindset alone rewires you. Momentum is fragile early. Machiavelli warned that new power structures are most vulnerable before they stabilize. This is why you avoid unnecessary debates, reduce exposure to negative people, stop explaining your plan. Explanation invites interference. Silence protects momentum. You don't convince, you demonstrate. Pause. Research on behavior change shows that identity locks in around 60 to 90 days when actions are consistent and public identity is reduced. This is why isolation during transformation works. You're not hiding, you're incubating. Weak men announce change. Strong men let absence do the talking. You don't need to post every win. You don't need applause. You let results shock people later. Machiavelli knew that surprise is a weapon. When you reappear stronger, wealthier, calmer, people fill the gaps with fear and respect. At this stage, your biggest enemy is slippage. You must enforce standards like law. Sleep is protected. Work blocks are sacred. Excuses are banned. You don't negotiate with weakness. Every time you let something slide, you vote against your future self. Every time you hold the line, you reinforce dominance. The final identity shift. Somewhere near day 90, something irreversible happens. You stop seeking permission. You stop craving validation. You stop explaining your ambition. You move differently. You speak less. You tolerate less nonsense. Not because you're angry, because you're aligned. That's the real transformation. Not money, not status. Internal authority. Because this blueprint doesn't rely on hope. It relies on structure. Machiavelli didn't believe men changed by inspiration. He believed they changed by constraint and consequence. You constrained your time. You constrained your behavior. You constrained your exposure. And in return, you gained leverage. Let me end where we began. You don't need motivation. You need command. If you are tired of starting over, if you are tired of potential without power, if you are tired of watching others win while you wait, then execute this. No shortcuts, no excuses, no spectators. If this hit you, comment discipline below. Not for me, for yourself. And if you want more strategies rooted in power, psychology, and ruthless self-mastery, subscribe, because the world does not reward intention. It rewards men who move, and now you know how.